Hey there, everybody. We're recording this kind of as a reaction to the Magic 30 announcement. Andy, hello. And both Andy and I are sort of former Magic players. I was never very good. I still kind of play a little bit, but we both saw this announcement and it reminded us what we love about dead or out of print card games. Um, Andy, what you want to kind of what are your thoughts on the Magic 30 announcement? You want to kind of
just
lead
really
off?
quick recap because I don't know how much of the audience of your channel is in tune with some of the current happenings of Magic. So basically, there's this thing called a reserved list, which was a promise by
They
Wizards of the Coast.
promised us they wouldn't reprint it. They
Yeah,
promised us.
this really came out of Chronicles, which was a reprint set that came out in 1994, where they reprinted a lot of Arabian Nights Antiquities Legends cards that all basically tanked in value at that point, and people lost confidence. And so, to restore collector confidence in the early days of Magic, they came up with this reserve list, and there's all sorts of cards on it. Now, most famously are like Power 9 and Dual Lands and stuff like that, but there's a ton of other stuff on there. Most of it's junk. But the core point is it's a promise made from Wizards that they would never reprint these cards. So when Magic's turning 30 this year, which, it's now an old man, and Wizards, in a way to kind of celebrate the 30th birthday, released this thing called Magic 30. I think that's what the official name is, but it's
Celebrate and also like collect a fat paycheck, right?
Right.
Continue to
So
drain
it's
money
like
from players.
it's like a reprint of Beta set, which is the Alpha Beta Unlimited Beta set, because it had like the couple cards they were missing, but this one also has like 5 or 6 cards that aren't included due to like artist rights and stuff. But it's basically a reprint of Beta in both old frame and modern frame of Magic. I'm not really sure who the target audience for this product is, because it's $1,000 for 4 booster packs. Each booster pack is 15 cards, and you have the possibility of opening a second rare if it's a new frame or old, if it's an old frame card version. So just to remember, Beta has a ton of terrible cards: Death Lace and Camouflage, False Orders. Like, all these cards are just absolute garbage. There's no way you spend $1,000 on this. In the show notes, because I'm going to link Matt the link to put into the show notes for this, Matt Sperling. I don't know if you know who Matt Sperling is, but Matt Sperling's a professional Magic player. He also is very active in the Star Wars CCG community, playing Open. He and Ben Seck, who's also another Magic pro and a game developer, did this 2-hour deep dive into talking about this product. Definitely worth a watch. I watched the whole thing twice because it was just a fantastic back and forth between the two of them. So if you have 2 hours to waste, go watch that. It should be in the show notes. I highly recommend. And that'll cover everything you wanted to know about this product. But really what I wanted to talk about was just over the last several years, primarily from maybe about 2018, 2019 on, Magic has very much embraced the idea of being a cash cow, and that there are whales, if we're going to continue with, that type of terminology, who buy and play and collect Magic. And part of a marketing strategy really needs to be about having a product for every stage of the life cycle of a potential and current customer. So like, you need something that's going to attract somebody who has $4 to spend, and you also need something that's going to attract somebody who has $10,000 to spend.
Right.
And everything in between. And so this is a product that's kind of at the high end of that, at $1,000 for 4 booster packs.
Insanity.
But like, the problem is, like, I don't really know who the target is, because if you have that kind of money, you're just going to buy the original alpha or beta stuff anyway, rather than reprints of it. They're not tournament legal. The Commander community has already come out and said they're not going to be tournament legal or playable within Commander. So like, if you're not playing it in Commander and you're not playing it in a tournament, and you're not playing in, like, a collector is not really the person who's going to buy it, and your low end Magic player isn't the person who's going to drop $1,000 to get, Island Sanctuary. Like, this is a very confusing product. And
Well, it
And
also shakes the confidence of like high-end people. Like, you made this promise we're going to reprint this, and you just did. So, what
yeah,
does it
I
mean
mean,
for the future?
I don't think that the person who's looking to buy an Alpha Black Lotus is not shaken at all by this. Alpha's alpha, beta's beta. Like there will still be. I think what it does is it, for the short term, stops the immediate continued growth of it, but will continue to have a positive upward trajectory on growth in terms of price. Like if an Alpha Lotus is $75,000 today, plus minus how many of our thousands of dollars it is, right? Let's just go 75 grand. Rather than next year it being 90 grand, next year it might be 83, right? Because there's, more in there. But then the following year, it's going to still go up to 95 or something, right? It's not going to suddenly go like 90 and then like 110. Like you're
Right.
going to have like a slowing down of the growth, but there's still going to be growth because people are still going to want the original printing rather than these like weird proxy versions. It does open up some like very interesting conversation about what they do further down the road with like other types of products similar to this, um, but I think that these kind of products and the amount of product that's coming out from Wizards of the Coast really kind of off-putting.
Yes,
It's too
absolutely.
much basically for me. Like I played Magic from 1995 through till 2019 pretty actively. Like I traveled to 4 continents to play in professional level events, and I just gave up in 2019, and that's before pandemic because at that point, aside from family stuff, like I was very into cubing, and my cube was all foil Japanese, all beta, all original prints. Like I mean, it was $100,000 cube, right? So I didn't want to take it anywhere because it was basically a museum at that point.
It's like no, you need to take insurance out on it, right?
But like the thing that also happened was there were so many sets coming out right around. This was like right around maybe like Modern Horizons 1. Like for me to get all the cards that I wanted was going to be like $9,000 retail, and I just was not interested in dropping $10,000 every 2 months to keep a
Well,
cube.
especially like with the understanding that these cards will be valueless in 2.5 years, right? When it's out of
Yeah, that
standard.
was the other thing was the amount of reprints that Wizards did really tanked some cards maintained a lot of value, especially reserved list stuff and like old foils from like Urza's Legacy, Urza's Destiny, 7th edition. But like stuff that came out like Creeping Tar Pit, for example, a foil Japanese Creeping Tar Pit was going for about $100. It got outclassed in Modern, like nobody played it, and because nobody played it, and then they reprinted it in Double Horizons or whatever the set
Yeah,
is.
I mean,
Like
I think the bigger
it
trend
just
though that I
tanked in value, and I was like, I'm not interested in doing that.
well, like, so I think there's like key components of Magic that are like investment vehicles or tools, and people that are serious about collecting and investing as far as like cards know what they are. But more broadly, I think Wizards has shown that they are not the stewards of this game that they used to be, that they are going to
Mm.
continue to put out more and more cards and more sets, and that they are truly the most profitable line of the Hasbro family is
Absolutely.
Magic, right?
Yeah.
And so I think as players, former players and as collectors, I just can't keep up with the breakneck speed of this. Like I just financially or even just like emotionally, like I just don't know what's going on. I'm like, I really liked Kamigawa. It came out in February. I thought it was really cool. And like now those cards are just, like no one's playing with it. It's done. And that was 6 months ago, whatever, 8 9 months ago now.
Right.
And so I think for me, like the big thing that why I gravitate towards out of print games or dead games, right, is because they're finite, they're collectible, that they're yes, they're also solvable, right? Like you can solve a meta, but like I just think it's way more interesting than like being part of this like very aggressive, exploitative, like cash grab that's happening right now with Wizards. And I'm hoping other games like Lorcana in the future are not like this, but the current situation, like the state of Magic, in my opinion, is kind of grim.
Yeah.
um
I mean, I think that only Magic is going to eventually kill Magic. Like nothing's going to
right.
unseat it.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
But like the they're kind of on, I think this product will sell out, right? And just like all of their products, it will sell out and it'll be their
Sure.
best quarter ever. And they'll just continue to do this type of stuff. And really, they're only answerable to Hasbro, but Hasbro's answerable to the shareholders, and shareholders
Right.
only care about growth. So if you're not getting growth out of Barbie and GI Joe and like traditional action figures and toys and board games that like Hasbro would have put out, and you're going to get it from Magic, they're just going to continue to push on Magic to do stuff like this, even if it's not within like yours and my best interest. It's within the best interest it's the fiduciary best interest of Hasbro to continue to do this, but it is going to alienate a lot of people along the
So I
way.
guess, yeah, absolutely. So final thought here, because I know we're trying to keep it quick. It is good in the short term financially, but is not good for the long term health of the
Agreed.
game or
Yep.
of the hobby. And I don't think there'll necessarily be this cliff that happens, but I think there will be a gradual decline, especially as more competitors move into the market. Because right now it's kind of ripe, which is why
Yeah.
there's so much attention in games that are kind of crappy like MetaZoo or Flesh and Blood. I said
Yeah.
it. If you made it to
Or
this
or
point,
to make the jump like you and I did to dead CCGs,
yeah,
because
I mean
it's
they're
easier
cheaper.
to
They're like
collect. I can look at, if
right,
I'm not going to play Magic because I have other commitments in my life and I'm not going to be able to get out to a Pro Tour qualifier or a Grand Prix or something, and I'm just
right,
never going to play, I might as well never play the dead game that's gives me
right,
joy rather than the live game that stresses me out.
right. 100% agree. Andy, thank you for your thoughts on
Thank you.
this, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Sounds good.